Hello, I'm Mary McGinnis, and I have been a frequent bus rider in Tillamook County. I live in Rockaway, and I used to teach in Tillamook, and I rode the bus to work quite a bit. I also travel, and take public transportation in Portland and other cities. And I was really intrigued when Mary Johnson said she's running for the Tillamook County Transit Board, because Mary has very similar experiences with Tillamook Transit. So we've invited her to have a conversation and tell us why she's running for the board. Mary, would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you so much. Hi, I'm Mary Johnson. I'm running for the Tillamook County Transportation Board, position number 5. Thanks for taking some time to listen to me. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mary. What did inspire you to run for the Tillamook Transportation Board? Why do you want to do this?
Sure, that's a pretty fair question. I'm running because I really want to give back to my community. I've always volunteered, but I'm rather new to Tillamook County and I love it here. This is my home and I'm going to be here for a very long time. So I want to give back and make the community a better place. So that's my main reason for running. It's just to give back.
What is your vision for the transportation here in Tillamook County? Where do you see it going?
Sure. We've got a pretty great transit system at the moment for a rural community. However, I think there's a lot of room for improvement. There's a large section of the south part of our county that's not getting access to our public transportation system, and they're left to depend entirely on our dial-a-ride system, which can be pretty expensive and also not always available to residents. So I'd really like to increase everyone in the county's access to our transit system.
That sounds like a very laudable plan. And I have recently been encountering many people who will use that transportation system if it's more available to them. In fact, I was in a meeting, community meeting recently that had 11 people in it. And I asked people how many of them had used Tillamook's public transit bus system. And all 11 people raised their hand. And then they started just sharing all these inspiring stories and funny stories about their bus rides. And I know you have traveled the county talking to bus riders. And I was wondering, what are some of the most inspiring bus riding stories that you've heard?
Well, people really love the transportation system that we have here. Although I have heard some complaints and room for improvement, most people really appreciate the access that we have here. The fact that our bus system connects to Portland's and that you're able to hop on a plane and travel anywhere in the world without having to get in your own vehicle is pretty spectacular. Some of the riders have been using our transit system for years, so it's been great to hear how much it's expanded already and how much more access people have. So I'm just looking to continue that tradition and to make it even more available and to be more expansive so more of our community can use it and travel more quickly and easily.
Who is the oldest bus rider that you've talked to?
Oh, I did speak with a gentleman, Pat Patterson, down in South County. He's actually from the Sand Lake area. I believe he is 98 years old. So he has been around actually since before we had our transit system here. He was one of the founding members of the Wave. So he really was inspiration to speak with, why he started the transit system, what he wanted to see for its future, and what his hopes are for the transit system going forward. It was a great experience to talk with him and to just see how much improvement they've already made. But it was nice to hear that he still has hope for changes and improvements going forward. Like I mentioned, he is in the Sand Lake area, so he's in one of those areas that our public transit system isn't really reaching. So I would love to expand that system so people like Pat can use it. That's what it should be there for. It's for everyone in our community to access and to be able to use on a daily basis.
just tagging onto something you said just now about it's not always available for everyone in Sand Lake area. At the age of 98, is he finding it's available for all of his needs?
Actually, when I went down and met him, he drove himself to come meet me. Um, and that would not be his preference to drive himself. It sounds like there's quite a few people, I've spoken with a few who are in the same boat Pat is, where you don't want to rely on your neighbors or your families to give you rides to the grocery store, to do simple errands. But if you don't have access to a bus, and if Dial-A-Ride's not available, or your appointment with Dial-A-Ride gets kicked for someone else's medical appointment, it leaves residents stranded. Unfortunately, at the moment, that's where we're at, but there's definitely ways we can improve so that we don't have residents who are driving themselves where they don't feel comfortable. We don't want people to put themselves or anyone else in harm's way by driving if they don't feel comfortable doing that. So buses are a great way to provide that service to people.
One of the things I think voters want to know, thank you for that answer, because I'm intrigued myself. I have to back up a little bit here. I'm intrigued that a 98-year-old still has plans and dreams for what the bus system could become.
Oh yeah, he definitely does.
One of the things I think that voters want to know is what kind of a board member will you be? And you work in the legal field. How do you feel that has prepared you to be a board member?
Sure. Well, I'm not a lawyer. I work for a law firm, and a lot of our work, the work that I personally do, centers around elderly people, disabled people, and minors who don't have family to support them. So a lot of the same people who use our transit system overlap into the kind of work I do for the law field. So I have a good understanding of what those types of people need, and what's currently available isn't always enough. So I'm aware that we need to improve in certain areas, and we don't want to leave our vulnerable communities vulnerable. We want to make the situation better. One of the reasons I'm running for the transit board is that there seems to be a conflict within the board on how to move forward, whether we should be spending our funds to provide rides to tourists, or if we should if we should be providing rides to our residents who need things like simple services like going to your doctor, going to get your haircut, going to get groceries. Simple things like that become a huge challenge and a burden for people when they don't have access to public transit. And the fact that we have so many people who are relying so heavily on our Dial-A-Ride system, which is no longer really a great alternative for people unless they're using it for medical rides. We need to expand. That's one of my goals, is to expand our system to help all of our residents. I really just want to give back and make sure everybody is taken care of. I believe in equity and looking out for your neighbor and taking care of our communities. This was just a good way for me to do all of those things at once. While I'm not a transportation expert, my legal field background has left me with a good amount of research expertise, as well as accounting experience, all of which I think will really benefit myself as a board member and our community, to have board members who will do research into where we can find additional funding and research into what the community needs. I'll also get out there and talk to people. That's what I'm here for. I will freely give my phone number and my email out to any community members who need it so they can contact me. I want to be a voice on the board for the people, and make sure that they're represented. That's all I'm here to do, is to make sure that their voices are heard.
You've talked a lot about your community and the people are in your neighborhood, but just generally the community. And I think one of the things that voters notice about the special district elections is literally they are special because they are in our neighborhoods and they involve
Mhm.
the people who are living on either side of us or down the street. And your family and a lot of your friends are deeply involved in your campaign. Can you tell us a little bit about your mother's involvement and how your friends are helping you?
Definitely. My mom is actually my campaign manager. We are really good friends and actually worked together. I worked under her for many years. So it's been a pleasure to work for her again as her campaignee. Let's be honest, she is the boss. um, and I love it. It's great. It's one of the reasons I moved to Rockaway. It's where my parents live. This is where my boyfriend spent his summers growing up. It's just a great place to be. I'm so thankful. And doing this campaign experience has introduced me to so many more like-minded people, gave me an excuse to walk around my neighborhoods and meet all of my neighbors face to face. It's been great. It's yeah, been a wonderful experience to just meet more of my community, and going door to door to meet my neighbors really was an interesting experience to find out, which ones of them use our transit system and how many people had questions about what services are offered and what can be improved and what they would like to see. It's a great way just to meet people and to find out what needs to be improved for the transit system.
Speaking about needing to be improved, but I want to hit on that in just a little bit. But one of the things that has interested me in your campaign and intrigued me about your campaign is that you are such a fresh voice, bringing a fresh perspective into Tillamook County for the transportation district. And you sort of hit on this a little bit earlier, but what are one or two of the things that we're currently doing that you think are real standouts that you want to see kept and enhanced?
Definitely. The number one thing that I think our transit system already does really well is the interconnectedness between the counties north, south, and to the east of us. Being able to hop on a bus here and then go all the way up to Astoria, all the way to Portland. Um, as far south, I think you can actually take our buses all the way down through Southern Oregon, hopping on interconnected buses. So it's pretty amazing that you can get as far as you can. The other thing that I hear a lot of people really compliment our services is that our bus drivers are so wonderful. We've got really great staff who keep the system going, who are friendly and accommodating. The fact that we have the type of system where it's called a deviated route. So the fact that you can call your bus line and have them drop you off right in front of your door, assuming you live pretty close to our normal bus route, it's amazing. So you go get your groceries, you don't have to lug them 2 blocks to your house. Those little things make a world of difference for people who use public transit. Trust me, been there, carried my groceries for blocks. Absolutely thankful that we don't have to do that here.
And you just mentioned that you've used public transportation a lot in your life. What I want to come back to this fresh idea, fresh voice perspective. What from all of your years of using public transportation do you see as part of something new and exciting that you might be able to bring to Tillamook County?
I think technology is a big thing that we can improve with our transit system. It's something that the board is already currently working on and that I would love to help implement. Finding the right system to be able to pay on your phone, buy your monthly pass on your phone. Those, a simple thing like that is a really great feature to have. And it wouldn't be too big of a stretch to be able to implement those things here. I think that would be a great way to improve our system and something I would love to see happen. And I'm happy that the board is discussing to do. Right now, having to have exact change can be a hassle for people. Having to go to specific places to buy your monthly pass can be a hassle. If you can purchase all of those on your phone, like you can pretty much anything else these days, it'd be a great improvement for our transit system and ease for our riders, which is what we want. We're here for customer service, so let's give the customers what they want.
I like that comment, just give the customers what they want. And I'm one of those people who, when I was teaching and riding the bus to school, would uh, have to struggle to figure out how am I going to get my monthly bus pass. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing that perspective to the board, although I understand that it's already being discussed, but I'm interested to hear what input you can have on that. I am glad that you had this conversation with me. I learned a lot about what you want for the board, what you see for Tillamook County Transportation. I was excited to see that you've been talking to bus riders and not just talking to the people who make the decisions, but the people who actually ride the bus. What final words do you have for the conversation that you would like to leave us with?
Thanks, Mary. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to have this conversation with me. I really appreciate it. There are so many things that I think we can do in this community to make Tillamook County even better. One of those things I really would love to see happen with our bus system would be a green initiative. They recently just converted our fleet over to propane. I would love to see an even greener initiative pass. We are a very beautiful, special little ecological bubble here on the coast, and having green buses is a great way to make that happen. A lot of that funding right now goes to Portland. Obviously, their larger district has more pull than us. One thing I would definitely like to do once I'm on the board is to see what we need to do to qualify to get greener buses here on the coast. Just having a couple of them at a time would make a big difference. That I think is an important differentiator for me between some of the other people running for the board. And the fact that I listen to people, I think also is important. I don't feel like some of the current board members are listening to people. Actually, the last board meeting I attempted to attend, the link that was on the website was actually broken. So those having transparency to the public, to make our meetings available, to publish our board minutes so the public knows what decisions have been made. Those are also really important issues to me. I would like to see transparency through and through in our government. Just having it simply on our board would be a great place to start. So having transparency so people can see where the money is going and what it's going to and what decisions are being made with their tax dollars in part is important. Yeah, so those are some of the things I would like to see changed and that I will work towards. I really do think I can bring a fresh voice because I am listening to the people. I am a bus rider. I am here just to make things better for all of us. So that I think sets me apart from the rest. The fact that I'm here for you and to make your bus riding experience better for the future. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm running. So thank you.
You're welcome. And now I get a much bigger picture of why your candidacy has intrigued me. Thank you for talking to us.
Thanks, Mary. I appreciate it.
Thank you.